Talk Bomb.
Book Club Shmook Club is brought to you by TalkBomb.com. It's a book review show where Kristen and her brother Will Rogers 2000 talk about books and whatever else they want. Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you typically get your podcasts.
Incoming update from Book Club Shmook Club World Headquarters.
This is a special edition, Big Little Lies TV show update.
We interrupt your life for this emergency update.
So guys, we read Big Little Lies a few months ago in anticipation of the show coming out. The show has now come and gone. It just ended this past Sunday, and I watched it. William did not. I really super loved it, as did everybody's freaking out. The world is freaking out.
Everybody's freaking out. I saw a couple articles about it.
At least in my bubble, I know a ton of people who watched it and really loved it, and I did as well.
Okay.
So I just wanted to talk to everybody who maybe listened to the episode and read the book along with us or anything, and tell you can be the audience stand-in for me.
Right.
Some of the differences between the book and the movie.
Cool.
And my thoughts on them.
Okay, that sounds good.
This is completely off the cuff, so I'm probably forgetting some things. I really didn't prepare for this or anything, but
whatever.
I just
That's fine.
was thinking about it. And
just for context, we just recorded Friday's episode of Book Club Shmook Club.
Yep.
The Casual Vacancy. It's a regular hour-long show. But we wanted to talk about Kristen's thoughts of the Big Little Lies show.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm saying that just so that you understand that we're just kind of being hey, all right, let's just put out another thing because we can just talk about it. And also because if you're listening to this, you can once this little thing ends, who knows even how long we'll go with this.
Yeah,
but
not too long, I don't think.
If you need more schmook, you can go straight to patreon.com/talkbomb. If you're not already one of our patrons, become one because I'm posting the Casual Vacancy show right after we're done with this.
Yeah, there's a big fatty hour right over there waiting for you.
Exactly. So anyway, we're throwing a little extra your way this week.
Yeah.
Please consider backing us and get our other stuff early. And that will always be the case, basically.
Yes.
Anyway.
Totally. Yeah, so the show is really great. And again, just totally off the cuff, I'm just telling my brother Will.
Yeah.
You guys are just listening in, some things they changed.
Okay.
So remember when we talked about it on the Big Little Lies show and I said I had read that Reese Witherspoon said that they changed something with Madeline?
Yes.
And you were like, oh, I wonder, you thought it was going to be that she was an alcoholic. It is not that. Although she does drink a little bit, I don't think she's an alcoholic, but the last two episodes, she was kind of hitting the sauce, but there's a reason.
Okay.
The thing that they changed, spoiler alert, for the TV show Big Little Lies,
the whole
that's
thing.
a given. Yes,
the whole thing is a spoiler alert for all of Big Little Lies.
I'm still primed to
book
whatever.
or show. Yeah.
Yes. She has an affair.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So they took away the affair that Renata's husband had with the French nanny that just didn't really affect anything. It was just another bit of color or whatever to the universe.
Okay, yeah.
There's a whole other storyline that was not in the book whatsoever where Madeline's part-time job, this is a thing in the book, but they don't go into it, is that she works for a theater company. And the theater company that she works for is putting on Avenue Q. And there's a scandal in town about it because it's a scandalous show.
They're putting on actual Avenue Q?
I don't know if it's
not just an R-rated puppet show. It's Avenue.
Yeah, no, Avenue Q.
That's so weird.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's the way that town theaters do other existing shows and shit,
Yeah, for sure. But wow, that's so funny.
So it's scandal. So Renata, who's the mom of Amabella, who's getting bullied at school and bitten and shit like that.
Yeah.
Renata kind of takes out some of her anger at Madeline, kind of being in her way with that by going after the production of Avenue Q and saying that it's offensive and that they shouldn't put it on. That's part of where the drama kind of goes on.
Okay.
And the musical director or something of Avenue Q is who Madeline has an affair with.
What a weird thing.
So I read that Reese Witherspoon said that she felt like there wasn't really anything going on with Madeline that she could kind of sink her teeth into.
Yeah.
And that she seemed just kind of too perfect or something in the book, which I don't really think is the case.
She's not perfect. She just doesn't have as big a role as the other.
Not a big conflict. Yeah. So I guess she wanted a kind of a conflict thing. It's okay.
Fair enough. What a bizarre way to do that then. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was sitting right in front of them. She's an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Like,
that hadn't occurred to me reading the book, though. So, I mean, it just sitting in front of them the same way it could sit in front of anybody. That didn't seem like Madeline specific,
okay,
but nor
right.
is this really.
But it's such a weird thing to be like, all right, she's putting on Avenue Q.
Yeah.
That show, as far as I know, I saw that show twice. I really liked that show. And I think that it's gone. I think that they concluded it and they don't do it anymore.
Yeah. Maybe they do it in Monterey, California.
Is that where it is?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't
know.
Wow, what a weird thing. Is it a local theater production of Avenue Q? So it's not like she's
But it's like a big theater.
bringing the people who did Avenue Q to town or something like that.
No, I don't think so.
Because that's weird too. Do they show them making the puppets?
No.
How big a part of it is that Avenue Q is here?
It's not that big.
It's weird to me that it's not big then. That it's not just that it's like...
It's not that big, but I mean, they talk about it a lot.
There must be better known shows that are R-rated. Yeah, I mean, having an R rating on a Broadway show doesn't make sense. But like an adult-oriented show...
I don't not one that would be plausible that you would think could be like kind of okay.
That's really weird to me.
Yeah, you're reacting way bigger than I thought you would.
It just, I don't even have a parallel.
Q.
I've been trying to figure out like a parallel in my head. I was going to say like, it's as if somebody on the show all of a sudden works for Pepsi. But even that would just obviously be an advertisement. This isn't an advertisement for Avenue Q. You can't go see it. So what is it?
I think Avenue Q means more to you than the average bear.
I think it does, but also it's just really weird. It's like the Book of Mormon just being in the show. It's just like, what?
That's not that weird to me. It's a theater production, and they have a theater where they're putting on a production.
I guess I've just never heard of that. That seems like it'd be a really hard production to put on.
It does.
Like,
now that you say that, like, how do they find, like, it's not like you just needed, like, theater actors who are good at singing and dancing. It have to be puppeteers?
Like, if you're going to do Annie Get Your Gun, you can find, like, overalls and a cowboy hat. Like, if you're going to do Avenue Q, you have to make each fucking puppet.
Yeah.
And you have to
seem really hard.
You have to become, like, skilled in the art of puppetry.
Right.
That's not easy. Like, it's just weird. That's a very weird thing.
It is weird. It is weird.
There's a character in that show who is Gary Coleman.
Really?
Yeah, it's a person who's playing like the local mailman who is Gary Coleman.
I don't remember. I mean, I've seen it. I think I saw it with you.
Our show's very Gary Coleman oriented all of a sudden. It's weird.
It really is.
But you know, like Avenue Q is not an average.
Did I see it with you?
That's not an average show to do. Maybe. I don't know.
This might ring a bell. Were there two like bros during it who were like yelling and then they started making out? It was surprising.
Oh, I don't remember them making out. I remember one of them who wouldn't shut the fuck up and who went like, "Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong."
Yeah.
And I got so I wanted to like hit him.
Yeah, no, they were terrible.
Like,
but then it was surprising because they were like they started like kissing or something. And we were like, huh, didn't see that coming.
Maybe he screamed, "It's on like Donkey Kong" before they started making out.
Like they didn't start like gross making out, but they did like kiss a couple times. I remember that. I guess it was you. I think it was you. You and I were like, huh. That's interesting because they seem like weird bros.
Yeah, I don't remember that part. I just remember that for some reason, they were talking back to the play.
Yeah, it was
very obnoxious to me.
Super weird.
It's not a normal show to put on.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on.
I'm sorry. I will move on from here. But like it's I would be just as confused if like a local playhouse was like, "Hey, we're putting on Avenue Q." It's a highly unusual thing to decide to do, and especially for a show, I feel like it's weird. All right.
Okay.
Hey, go ahead. Sorry.
The puppetry aspect does make it weird. It's a whole specific thing. Anyway.
Very
I
weird.
kind of agree with you, but your reaction is it's like 8 notches above what I thought it was going to be about that.
But I guess, you know, you didn't think of it because it's not a thing to you, but you thought that like, you would just be like, yeah, and they're putting on Avenue Q, and I'd be like, okay, go on.
Yeah, correct.
That's so weird. Right.
Oh my God.
There's no way I'm the only one.
There's no change now to the story that I'm going to tell you that's going to make any kind of impact the way that you hearing that the addition of Avenue Q did. I could say anything now. You're going to be like, okay, yes, so.
No, I still think that it's weird. I still think that it's weird, even the notion. Like, forget Avenue Q. I still think it's weird that it's like, feel like my character doesn't have enough. Let's look to the source text to see if there's anything that we can find out about our character. It's like, no, there's a carnival in town. She's in love with a clown. Well, like it just seems like it's out of left field.
If there's nothing there, I guess you may as well make it up out of left field.
I guess. All right.
Okay. So yeah, she's having that. She's not having that affair. She apparently had an affair with the dude who's the director like months ago on some other theater production, but then they like kind of kick it up a little bit again. And she's like, oh, I don't want to do this. This isn't good or whatever. And, in the book, remember her husband Ed was like a super good guy and they have this like really strong marriage and everything.
Yeah.
It's not so much the same way in the TV show. They have a very blah marriage.
Is that Adam Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
Where they like never have sex because she's just like not that into it. And they just have a very his name is Ed. And at one point he's like, oh, I'm just old steady Eddie. Like I'm not exciting or anything. And, I can't talk to you about this.
Sounds like a line Stephen King wrote.
It's not.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
You made a face. The show's really good.
I believe you that it's good.
Steady Eddie is not indicative of.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And I was going to move past it, but you couldn't move past my face. So,
no, I couldn't. All right. So they have not the best marriage, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. Those are some changes. Another change. Let me see. Oh, there's a weird change that I both understand, but it's strange.
Yeah.
So Jane knows that her rapist's name, or he told her his name was like in the book Saxon Banks.
Right.
In the book they changed it to, or in the movie the show they changed it to like Saxon Baxter or something like that.
Okay.
And they Google him like in the book, but altogether Jane's there and everything, and they find this guy, but it's not Perry's cousin, like from the book or anything. It's just some dude.
Yeah.
And Jane is like kind of unhinged in the TV show as opposed to in the book. Like she's got all this crazy anger. She's kind of like a live wire. She has a gun. She goes to the shooting range all the time. She has all these fantasies of shooting her attacker.
Wow.
Like she has fantasies of, she keeps her gun under her pillow and she just has like dreams and fantasies of somebody trying to get in and she shoots them. And so she goes with her gun to, Saxon Baxter's workplace or whatever. He's like an interior designer and she can't totally remember what the guy looks like who was her rapist. So she goes and sees him and he comes to get her and he's like, you know, Mrs. DeMarco or whatever, because she gave like a fake name and she can't really tell if it's the guy or not.
Yeah.
And a weird thing that they do that doesn't really get cashed in on in any way later is that she remembers his smell. So she kind of smells the guy at the interior design place. I think doesn't think it's the smell, or she's not sure it's the smell, but either way, she's like, what am I doing? This is crazy. And she leaves.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's not. So in a way, the change makes sense because I think that you felt this way. And I think I did too, that with the book, like it's weird that Celeste would hear the name Saxon Banks and not make any kind of real connection to Perry using that as a name that he used to use when he did bad things.
But in the book, I thought Celeste didn't know about it. Madeline knew about it and knew about the name and looked him up.
But I think, well, she does, but I think Celeste knows the name too. I think Madeline tells her and she's like, oh my God, Perry has a cousin named Saxon Banks. She's like, he's such a nice guy though. I like can't reconcile the idea of him doing that in my mind.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense because it could be a little bit too close to Perry, and then watching the TV show, I think you could figure it out.
How many episodes?
7.
That's not that many. Hour long? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it would still work fine. I understand. Mm-hmm. I think that part of what they wanted to do is it gives Jane a moment where you get to see her. Do they do the same thing? Let me ask it this way. Do they do the same thing where they set up the series going like there's a murder at the end?
Yes.
All right. Mm-hmm. I think that then what they wanted to do is have her be a little more proactive and hunting the guy who raped her so that that adds some more question marks to the end. She has a gun. We know that she's hunting the guy.
Totally.
Did she find him at the party? Because otherwise it doesn't seem like it changes anything else really, except for just being different for difference sake.
Yeah.
It gives like an action moment and it creates more like intrigue about what's happening at the end with the murder.
I think it's probably true. And also I think Celeste and Perry are definitely the main characters or like main couple in the TV show, and you see Perry abusing her. It's actually like it's getting a lot of praise for being kind of a more grounded portrayal of abuse than you usually see in things. Cause Perry
really?
like acknowledges that he's abusive and he's really great at other times and he promises that he'll change, but it feels very like realistic.
Yeah.
Like it's not just he's a monster, but he's also, they show him being like an amazing father, like in the book and everything. And it's super interesting. And they show, them going to couples counseling together about it.
Oh, wow.
They show her then going by herself later. Like it's really, really well done. So I think that they also might have wanted to create some distance between Perry possibly, like that could be a giveaway because Perry's so obviously bad.
Right.
I think that they wanted to create a little bit more distance because you could call it. Because actually Mike guessed it like halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about it, but he told me what he thought and I just was like, don't even look at me because I don't want to give it away.
Right.
Because you could kind of like draw that line. Because also, and this is a thing in the book too, but you see it and everything, so it's more graphic. Sexuality is tied to Celeste and Perry's fights a lot in the TV series. And like I said, it was in the book too, but like they pretty much always like do it afterward. It's this whole like weird thing where like anger and passion are kind of intertwined in a way. So Celeste at first like kind of feels like it's just kind of a part of their relationship. And
I guess that's because that's occasionally how things are even shown in movies where it's like James Bond is fighting with someone, like some woman, and like they're hitting each other and like she bites him and draws blood on his lip and they're like, oh, that's even wilder.
Yes.
Right.
But so like Celeste is kind of like, so she likes the sex part of it. So it more intertwines that she kind of like blames herself in a way, or it's like this dirty secret that they have together, not just Perry being abusive. You know what I mean? But so anyway, I think that they may want to keep more distance between Jane and Perry's at all, so that you couldn't guess it possibly because Perry's violence is so in your face and sexualized.
That makes sense.
And then something that, so I was actually, I loved the show overall, but I was actually disappointed, a little bit in the finale, because they made a choice which was cool, but because I had read the book, I was looking forward to seeing on screen that end scene where there's all the confrontation at that trivia night. Yeah. And Perry dies. Instead of you hearing dialogue and everything, they do this like artistic take on it, which is real. I mean, it is really cool and intense, but you miss out on all of that. There's no verbal confrontation at all. You totally miss it. So like, because Madeline had the affair with that dude. Yeah. He's also a parent at the school. And so they're all at that trivia night. The wife kind of suspects and she keeps looking at Madeline and she's just feeling, and Ed, her husband, is looking at Madeline too. Like he's figuring it all out too. And she's just feeling like really uncomfortable and
that's kind
upset.
Of interesting.
This stuff, I mean, I'm trying to like keep it kind of short. I really love this show. We could talk about it for a long time.
Like I was thinking about the show, the book, cause it has like stuck in my head since we read it. And like, this is dumb. This is really a really corny thing to say, but it's true. Like even the name Big Little Lies, where it's like all of these sort of, they feel like they're supposed to be white lies. They do compound on top of each other. Yeah. I like Adam Scott as an actor. I can completely visualize him standing there thinking that everything's fine and then looking at his wife.
He's great.
And starting to put it together. Well, and that would probably get me feeling pretty anxious.
So I'll tell you real quick. So part of the reason he is putting it together is because the episode before, a couple of episodes before, the guy who she's having the affair with wants to keep it going, and Reese Witherspoon is like, "No, we left it in the past. I want to keep it that way. I'm not doing this or whatever." Yeah. And he's like, "Get in the car. I need to talk to you, or else I'm going to do it right here." They're at like a coffee shop at Blue Blues, and she's like, "All right, fine." So they get in the car, and she's like, "I'm not doing this. Take me back to the coffee shop or whatever." And they get in a car accident. So then everybody's like, well, why are you guys in the car together? You know what I mean? Yeah. But she's kind of like, oh, we were going to the theater. But like, she's even half-heartedly lying about it. Like, she's just like sick. Cause you can tell she genuinely regrets it. And even though she and Ed do have like, maybe not a hot, exciting relationship, she really does love Ed. Yeah. So she's like feeling shitty or whatever. And, she almost tells him later that night, and she starts to say like, I think they're both drinking though. Like not like, maybe Ed's a little bit drunk because he was upset about everything because it's suspicious that they were in the car together or something. And there's just like weirdness going on. And she's like, Ed, I did a terrible thing. And he's like, don't say it. But it's just like a quick line, and it's ambiguous. Like it's not as dramatic as that. I don't know how to explain it. It's something like that. Like I guess like don't say it or don't say anything.
I know what it is.
Yeah, he's like, but I don't want to make it totally real, basically.
Right, yeah.
And then they're able to just kind of pretend that it's maybe not real, and they kind of go on.
Is that like the resolution of their story?
No. That's not like the last thing or anything, but of that night and that part of it. So then that has already happened. They go to trivia night. They happen to be walking in at the same time as the guy and his wife. And there's weirdness, and Ed is just looking at Madeline like, this definitely happened. That's what you were going to say or whatever. So she's like,
that would make me sad. I haven't seen much of Adam Scott. I know I like him because the things that I've seen him in, he just seems like he's a
little creepy in this though. It's such an interesting show.
It's creepy?
Yes, it's on purpose, but he's a little awkward and weird. Like he says weird things.
He was in something. I forget what it was. I think it was Anchorman 2. Where he's supposed to be an asshole. And I remember watching it thinking like, you're not an asshole, you're a nice person.
Yeah.
Like I just don't buy it. I don't buy that from you.
He's not an asshole, but he's odd. Like there's a scene where people made, I think, a mountain out of a molehill kind of thing. So Abigail, Madeline's daughter, whatever, lives with them.
Yeah.
It's not his daughter. There's a scene, it's like 2 seconds where he's kind of looking at her, and he is looking at her a little bit, like checking her out, but like barely. He's not being disgusting.
Yeah.
And then she kind of turns on. He's just like, it's very subtle. It's not like big cartoon. You're like, oh, what's over there or whatever. But people were like, oh my, like people who didn't read the book, because I was part of like the Facebook group for the TV show, were like, oh my God, Ed's a molester. He's doing all this stuff to her. And I was like, I think it's just weird, like, just like a weirdness thing.
Yeah, but then what's that for? That if that's not in service of anything,
it's just Ed being weird.
Like everything should kind of mean something, you know?
It does. Yeah. So it's just that he's kind of awkward and he is a little like gross.
Yeah.
So he also says to Bonnie at one point, like he goes to talk to her at her yoga studio where she teaches, because they're all going to have dinner together. Bonnie, who is Madeline's ex-husband's wife. And so the two couples are going to have dinner together to talk about their co-parenting of Abigail.
Right.
And he says something weird, like, he's like, oh, I just love sweat on women or something. And she's like, okay. Yeah. Like it's, so like, he's a nice guy, but he's also strange. And I wonder if that's partially, again, because of the mystery of who dies and who does it. Like,
it's a
throwing him into the mix a little bit is like, this guy's a little bit weird. And he's also threatening to Nathan. Like, cause Nathan, who is
the husband,
Madeline's ex-husband, is like being a dick or whatever. And he's like, it's interesting because he's supposed to be kind of a dork. He like works from home, Adam Scott. He's like kind of a Silicon Valley dork a little bit. He's just like not a manly man.
Yeah.
And he like says he's going to kick Nathan's ass or something. He's just like, this weird dork is like coming at me, but like maybe he's dangerous because he's like a quiet one who's going to like
freak out.
Yeah. It's weird. His character's weird.
That sounds like on Friends when David Schwimmer is telling Chandler, if you hurt my sister, I will hunt you down and kick your ass.
Yeah, that's right.
Chandler starts laughing. Just some people, it just doesn't work. You just can't talk like that.
It's a little bit like that. So he has a complicated character, but it's still very sad because you still like him. I'm saying also, but he's a good guy. There's just like weirdness. So it is sad. He's just kind of like, what the fuck? Oh God. And then so an added addition to the trivia night that I don't think was in the book is that it's also like a live karaoke thing. So they have a band, but you do karaoke.
Okay.
And he's been practicing singing his song. I mean, all the guys are. It's not too like losery where it's like this sport, but like everybody's practicing singing this song, and he sings this Elvis song that I don't know. I think it's called "Exceptional You." Well, it's Elvis and Audrey party. Okay. Everybody's
right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like a sad kind of slow romance song that he's like kind of singing to melody, and he does amazing. Like he goes up on stage, he's super awkward, he's shaking. He ordered like a triple vodka beforehand. At first he was like, I'm not going to drink. I don't want to be like anything for my performance. And then he's so scared. He's like, I may have a double vodka, maybe make it a triple. And then he goes up and he like kills it. And everybody's like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
And he's like singing it to Maddie about how she's exceptional. And then she starts crying and runs away. She's like freaking out at life. And also she was drinking a bunch.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is then where the killing happens. She runs away. She's separate from everybody. Then maybe Jane notices that she's...
I wonder what happened in that room after she ran out.
People were looking around. I mean, it's huge. It's not a room. It's like a huge like school.
Yeah, I know. But everyone's looking at Elvis singing to an Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
and it's obviously amazing and impressive, and then she runs away.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I would be like, am I in a movie? Like, am I in like a high school movie? Like, that just sounds like everyone looking at the prom king and queen, and then she's like, I can't do this.
Well, to be fair, everybody's not just watching the two of them. They're like talking and drinking, talking to each other.
Oh, so he's not that amazing. Like, people are like, wow, he's really good, but they're not like, because I'm picturing like an entire room that's like watching his performance.
No, I mean they're all gathered like it's a concert. You know what I mean? Like, they're all in front of the stage, but then they're talking and whatever. So yeah, Jane goes to follow her, and then I guess Celeste goes to follow too. And so the three of them are together on the area where those stairs are that Perry ends up falling down. Celeste and Perry have had a fight in the car on the way over, like in the book where she says she's going to leave him.
Yeah.
And then Renata comes because she had found, maybe she just comes because she wants to see what they're doing or something like that.
One of the puppeteers has an issue. One of the puppets has gotten wet.
The puppets have nothing to do with this. Avenue Q is a completely separate issue.
Smells of fright.
Okay, anyway. Okay, so this is what's changed because there's no dialogue or anything. It's all stylistic.
Okay.
So Celeste has told Perry it's done. She's going to leave him or whatever. But then Renata knocks on the window like in the book. And so they kind of have to get out of the car and go to the party because now everybody's there or whatever.
Yeah.
So the three leads, women, and Renata are there. Because actually in the show, Renata is also kind of a lead. Like, she's not one of the three main ones, but she's kind of right under them. They kind of round out her character a lot more and give her a lot of stuff to do.
Okay, makes sense.
Perry runs to find Celeste. And when Jane sees Perry, this is actually awesome. It's all unspoken, but she looks at him and she's just like, oh my God, it's him. And then Madeline looks up at Jane because Madeline's kind of like down or something like that. And Jane's sort of above her. And she's like, Jane? And she just sees she looks at Jane looking at Perry and she realizes. And then she looks at Celeste and Celeste looks at Jane looking at Perry and they all realize. And then I don't know if any dialogue happens. Celeste must say something or something must happen. I can't remember. But Perry lunges for Celeste and starts beating the shit out of her. Well, first of all, they do a weird flash forward thing, kind of. It's disjointed. I'll just tell it as though it all happens. They do the same thing
where the reporter is talking to them about like the night and what happened.
Yeah, and so you haven't seen it yet. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So what they show, but in flashes, is with music or not even over it or something like that. Perry just loses it and goes berserk and starts hitting Celeste. She's on the ground. He's kicking her and shit. The women are trying to get him off her and he's throwing them off of him like left and right.
Why? What?
Because she said something. I
thought in the book everyone was standing around and she said something and so he like almost like her. Impulsively like backhands her because he has no self-control. Mm-hmm. In this it sounds like, and I don't mean to interrupt you, it sounds like there were like separate things happening and he was pissed off somewhere over there and came rushing.
No. He came to talk to Celeste and she says something.
Oh, she's okay. Yeah. Understood. Yeah. Okay.
And he loses it. But just in front of these women. Nobody else is there yet. And Bonnie in the book is very peripheral, and she's a little bit less peripheral in the TV show. She still is not like way in it, but they kind of set up, not in an over ham-handed way, but that Bonnie is as nice in the show as she is in the book. She's kind of empathetic. Like, she could have started shit, for example, like that, what's his name? That Ed said to her that he loves sweat on women. Like when Nathan asks her, because she says that Ed came to see her at the studio, he's like, did he say anything weird? Was he weird? And she's like, no, because she doesn't want to start shit or whatever. Yeah. So they kind of set up that she's like rational. But so she sees Celeste and Perry coming into the party together, and just nothing's really happened. He's not doing anything to her yet or anything, but she just is noticing that like they don't seem fine and cool, and Celeste doesn't seem happy, and she wants to be away from him.
Right.
So Bonnie's just kind of watching and just kind of like what's going on, even though she's not even down by where the women are.
Yeah.
And then she sees Celeste walk away from the party and everything, and then she sees Perry walk away, so she decides to follow him because she's like, there's something like not good going on right now. So then, so he's hitting Celeste. The women are trying to pull him off, and he's just throwing them off and tossing them off and shit like that. But it's really disjointed because they're cutting it with shots of the ocean, like hitting, but it's good with like the ocean hitting rocks and stuff. Cause it's like, I guess, angry, like the way that the sea was angry that day, my friends.
Right.
But really, it's like the ocean being like really active and crazy is paired with them all just like this chaotic scene. And then Bonnie just comes out of nowhere and pushes Perry and he falls and dies. So it was interesting the way they did it and I thought it was cool, but I don't like that you didn't get the dialogue of like, not that I want them to like, I feel like they could have done it in a cool way, like not necessarily like spelling everything out where it's like really exposition heavy and just like, Jane,
right.
you're the, but like it took some of the wind out of like a really intense and important, confrontation, you know, like you don't have Celeste realizing like with words and shit about Jane and him saying anything to Celeste. Like it's all just very artsy and it's cool, but I was looking forward to seeing what I had read in the book and like having like Bonnie, who's always so chill. I was actually really looking forward to her being like, you've done that before or whatever. And then being like, we fucking see. And you know,
that moment is amazing.
That's what I'm saying. And
amazing.
You don't get it.
That sounds like it's probably cool, but it doesn't sound like it's the right.
It wasn't. And so I was wondering to myself, if it was just because I had read the book that I felt that way. But Katie, and I were texting about it and she said that she felt the same way.
It doesn't sound like it makes, this is such a cuckoo perspective on it, but the fact that Perry sort of like impulsively like he's in the book, he's realizing like, oh shit, and he impulsively like kind of loses control when he just like hits Celeste in the face, and it sounds like, if you don't know what Celeste said, maybe she does say something. But
I don't remember. Well, I mean, he had found out about the apartment before that, remember? So he's he knows she's leaving him and everything. I mean, that part in the show was really good too.
Yeah, but in the book, he's like upset by that and he's like, I'm sorry, right? Like, doesn't he?
He does it in the show too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my point about it is, regardless of what they show her saying, even if it's total silence or if she actually says anything, for him to go so like full bore monster in public, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about abusive relationships. That just doesn't seem like it's in character with what he's done before.
Well,
go to that extent.
He's getting progressively worse in the TV show. He may have been in the book too, but like that morning, he like fully like they show it. He fully like tosses her like over this chair and she stumbles over it and then like she falls over it and then he like kicks her in the stomach and like he's getting like worse.
I mean, that
so it's not quite as like I hear what you're saying. Like it seems like too over the top to feel realistic, but it's not really like that.
Okay.
And it also feels very like.
But if he's like throwing people off of him to keep hitting her, that just doesn't sound like it is the same. It's just not the same moment. And also, this is the film dorky side of me. But if they're intercutting it with images of water hitting on rocks, that honestly, maybe that's in place of showing like his fist hitting her face.
I think it is. I only saw it the one time. I don't remember, and I was just kind of like, because it's really good. It's very intense.
But embrace yourself, because I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but I feel like it's what that also communicates to me is like force of nature cannot be stopped, and that may be the case, but I feel like I still am on the ropes. I remember at the end of Big Little Lies, I was kind of on the ropes about it being like, here's our big villain and we kill him and everyone's happy as a result. It sounds like water hitting on the rocks is saying that he is like a force of nature and he will not be stopped at all. So you better kill him. He must die.
I read that the intent is the opposite, that the women are kind of symbolized by the water on the rocks and everything, because they all just come together, even though they had their differences and everything, and that these women against something are a force of nature.
I guess I like that, but if they keep it the same, where it's Bonnie is the person that is the only one who's able to stop him by killing him.
Well, it's really just because she came out of nowhere.
It's really not necessarily true.
They didn't see her coming.
They would need to like all of them push him or something. You know what I mean? Like it would have to be. I would appreciate then in that interpretation for it to be one of those moments where it's like, we're not sure which one of us did it. One of us killed him. He's dead. We all were fighting with him, and he's on the ground, and we're not sure who pushed him. It's like the purpose of a firing squad is that we don't know who killed the person, like that, where it's like well, we're all in it together. It was all of us.
Well, that is how it is, though. Like, they all decide, like, right then and there. Like, they all, like, really quickly, like, I mean, like, a second. It's not even, like, a thing. They all kind of, like, huddle, so to speak. And they all just look at each other and, like, shake their heads like, we're not going to say a thing.
Yeah, but Bonnie killed him, is my point.
Yeah, but I don't understand your point. You just think it would be better the other way?
I don't know. Better. No, I don't know if it would be better. But it sounds like it's cut and dry where it's like Bonnie killed him and they're all in it together. That part's great. But it's Bonnie, like it's one of them killed him. Yeah. If it were Bonnie, if it were any one of them, it's like he's got to go down and one of them does it is not the same as making the message that they're all in it together. Like I feel like the conspiracy needs to be that they all killed him. Not they're all going to cover for one of them.
I don't get your point. So you're just saying it would just be better that way.
I don't know. I don't know if it'd be better. That I guess that's what would make sense to me. But I don't know. I wouldn't expect that to just be like, oh, okay, then that's the fix or something like that. But that if you're trying to communicate that they're the water, they're the aspect that has like I guess that's like they're all grouping up to push back. Then they all have to be in a group pushing him. That's like the
but that's just the final death blow. They still were all fighting together.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess he was throwing everyone else off, and then one of them killed him. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know.
But I mean, like, how could it have happened? I just don't understand your point. I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, why are you saying all this?
Well, I just because if the metaphor to me of the water
I don't know
thing,
if that's definitely the metaphor. That was something that I read.
Oh, okay. From the creators? Or?
I think it was.
Well, then, I mean, that's my point. Is that I think that like the creators' point, he sounds like he's the water to me. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I've gotten confused now.
Well, so what happens from there? Does she go to jail and everything?
No. So that's another change. No, but. So I don't know what's going to happen. So I wish that they had done that, all the kind of aftermathy stuff about everybody just clamming up and not saying anything. They do a little bit. Like they didn't have any of the leads. The way that in the book they had like little things before chapters or whatever where it would be quotes from just random women who are parents in the school talking to the police and being like, oh, Celeste and Perry. Yeah, they had an amazing relationship. We all wish we had a relationship with Slice and Party or whatever. They didn't show any of the main women doing that until the end after this happened.
Right.
So they just showed them in the little police box thing, like being like, nothing happened. He fell. Like, we don't know, what happened. He just fell or something like that.
Yeah.
And the detectives being like, they're full of shit. They're lying about something, but like, what can we do? So they don't have Bonnie confessing or anything like that. And then the last scene, so they leave it kind of open for a second season. I don't know if they're going to do that. The director already said that he doesn't think that there should be one, but Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon have said that they're open to the idea of it.
Yeah.
And Liam Moriarty said that she would, like, if it was a thing, like, they're going to bring her in and to do whatever. So it's all of the women, like, on the beach, all 5 of them together. Yeah, so it's like Madeline, Celeste, Renata, Bonnie, and Jane on the beach with all their kids. Like, they're all playing together. Like, everybody's kind of happy, basically. And it's like kind of a triumphant final scene. The ladies are all going to be together, but they all still kind of like, they at some point they give each other a look like we were through some shit. And they're like, all right, we're all this or whatever. But then the very last scene are binoculars and then the click of a lighter, because the detective who was like investigating everything had this lighter with her that she kept clicking. So the very I know, I don't love it. I kind of, even though I loved this show, I kind of think that they should leave it alone.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I wouldn't want the story to continue where it's like, and now here's us continuing to cover up this crime. Mm-hmm. Like the covering up the crime is almost like, it's almost like a metaphor. Mm-hmm. Like you already said it. Like it's just kind of supposed to be a declaration of like, no, we're standing together. Mm-hmm. Like that's the point. It's not to be picked apart more than that.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're going to do it, because if the director doesn't want to do it, I mean, I'm sure he'd be talked into it or whatever, but I don't know if they would do it without him, because the direction was like kind of a big part of it.
Yeah.
But it was so huge that I could see them wanting to do that for that. I mean, you never know if they wrote something amazing.
Right? Yeah, sure.
I could see a trailer and be like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Right.
But like, I feel like it was so good and such a good self-contained story. I'm kind of like, I'd be fine if there wasn't a season 2.
Yeah.
But if there is a trailer and it looks awesome, then I'll be all about it.
Right. And you could just convince yourself that like the end of it with a detective watching them is just kind of like, well, you know what? As much as things are like tidied up, nothing's ever really tidied up.
Yeah, it wasn't so open-ended that you didn't feel like it was done, basically,
right.
But it was just enough of a little like last second thing that was like, oh, is that going to be like a problem?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like it was a good show.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Watch out, Emmy season.
Oh, you think so?
Oh my God, all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. The acting was amazing. Nicole Kidman was sublime. I didn't really think anything about her either way until this, and now I love her.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, you should totally watch it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I mean...
Although, I don't know, trigger warning, Avenue Q. And Waves.
Hey! I was going...
I know, I didn't understand.
Well, I don't know. The Avenue Q thing is weird to me.
All right, okay, all right. So that's it.
So that's Kristen's review of Big Little Lies.
Those are some of the changes in it. There are definitely more, but
I would have been really confused if they were talking about puppets in the middle of the book too. It's like, remember there was one point where Jane was like, "Oh my God, I forgot that Monday's assignment for Ziggy. Like it's due tomorrow. Damn it." Calls Madeline and like they like work together to finish out this like family tree.
Yeah.
She was like, shit. I'm supposed to have this puppet together by Monday. All things about puppets. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to this emergency Book Club Shmook Club alert.
Yep.
Now I feel weird. I'm sorry that I derailed things a couple of times. Trying to interpret the waves. I don't know.
It's okay.
Anyway.
I think it's tough to try to interpret when you haven't seen it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Look out Friday for the official Book Club Shmook Club of the week.
Yep.
Where we're going to be talking about The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. And as you know, it's already online for our Patreon patrons.
Yeah.
So go to patreon.com/talkbomb. Become one of our supporters if you are not already. This was fun. I like doing this. This might be a good way to do like in midweek kind of things where it's like if I do read it, we can like talk about it and without having it be like a full like regular show because you don't want to read it and stuff like that. That could be fun.
Yeah.
So
or
anyway,
that could just be an off-week show.
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, hope you guys
we'll see.
Enjoyed it. And if you want to shout out, check us out on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep, I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at Will Rogers 2000. I'm also at Haunted Sponge. See you on Friday. Thank you so much for listening. And until we next meet, good little talk, gang.
Little meeting adjourned.
Hey, good big little talk, gang.
Big little meeting wise adjourned.
Hey guys, do you like TalkBomb? We could really use your support. Please go to patreon.com/talkbomb where you can donate to us monthly. In doing so, you will get for yourself a bunch of bonus shows just as a thank you.
You can also find us on all social media accounts under the username TalkBomb. So that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Following us online is a great way for you to stay up to date on what we're working on for TalkBomb.
One of the best things you can do for our network is to review this show on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever platform you listen to us on. Positive reviews help us grow and help new listeners find us.
But more than anything, thank you for listening to the show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you at TalkBomb.com.